Tackle Warehouse loves me, but I love Tackle Warehouse. Mikeybalzz Fishing. Welcome to the Bass Cave. We're back in Alabama. You guys remember the Bass Cave? This is where all the magic happens. This is where we edit videos. This is where we rig some rods. We play with toys. We do all kinds of stuff. Where we capture our footage on that pewter right there. But we're gonna do something kind of fun today. If you guys remember, you guys gave me some recommendations on some baits and stuff to try up here in Alabama when I came back, and I took those to heart. So I grabbed some of the stuff that you mentioned, and I also went on an extreme shopping spree for stuff that I kind of liked and have always wanted to fish, like, and especially with the water that we have here, Smith Lake, the TVA, that green water, that semi-clear water. Baits that I've always wanted to try, but I haven't really had the opportunity because I haven't had the depth, the style of cover, the water, as well as some things that you guys have told me to buy forever. But as you guys saw in that teaser, I went crazy at Tackle Warehouse, bought a bunch of stuff, and it's gonna be an unboxing. Hands behind my back, you're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. But I'm way too fired up about all this stuff and all these new toys that I got not to talk about them. So we're gonna talk about them. I'm gonna tell you, try to like be kind of brief because I'm going fishing tomorrow and I don't want to sit here and like blab about baits all night, even though I pretty much could. I'm gonna tell you about all this stuff that I got in this box. It's about, sadly, it's like $400 plus of Tackle Warehouse stuff. But every single one is worth it, right? Every single one will catch fish. I want your input because not only did you give me feedback as to what to buy, I want you to give me feedback on what I got and any kind of weird ways to use it that I might not mention in the videos. I probably won't hit on everything or every way that I'm going to use them, but I want to hear your perspectives. I want to hear what you think, what you do. I want inside tips, bro. I need all the help I can get up here. So let's get to this stuff. Let's go through it. Let's do a quick breakdown because I got some rods to rig before it gets dark out because I want to go fishing tomorrow. I want to use this stuff, right? Let's get to it. I'm a true believer that you should go big or don't go at all. So let's start off with something big. And this is something I've been told to buy a million times. S-Waver 200. It's river to sea. Basically, glide baits are one of kind of the new kind of key elements to fishing the TVA as well as like Smith Lake and some of these spotted bass lakes. When those fish get shallow or when they're targeting stuff that's on top, you can freaking catch them on it. It draws them out. These lakes get a lot of pressure, and this, I mean, it's turning into Cali. Actually, funny little analogy. A lot of guys I've talked to are like, this is the East Coast Cali. Right? It's not directly East Coast, but a lot of the stuff that you can do in California, you can do here. You have the same species. You got smallmouth, you got largemouth, you got spotted bass, you got magnum largemouth as well, magnum spots. But you can use a lot of those same techniques that they're using out west because the water is kind of like, it's kind of a green, semi-clear, can get a bit cloudy. So you can apply some of those same principles. So I'm going to try, dude, I'm down for anything. I had a bunch of guys, shout out to Caleb at Bass Quest, as well as my buddy Chris Umrell, who does Bass Attitude, the hat I'm not wearing, actually, the balls on your head hats. He recommended the light trout version. I think any one will work. It's more about the action. But I got the S-Waver 200. We're going to try that when we get on Gunnersville, Pickwick, and places like that. It's going to take some time to learn to fish, but glide bait. There are blueback herring in Smith Lake. These are the original blueback herring imitators. I know they don't have bluebacks, but I like this color. I like the ones with the green on the back. They kind of look like shad, and it matches. I'm all about matching the watercolor, at least in one respect, kind of getting that green in there. I got the super small version. This runs 1.5 feet, and I got the little bit larger one. This runs about 2.5 feet deep. It's funny because I was thinking about the glide bait thing. These kind of remind me of that glide bait because they're segmented action baits. So they kind of do like an S, man. They kind of like walk, they don't walk through the water, but they swim through the water like that. But I was told these are something that you need to have, and especially on days when those fish are schooling, sometimes you can't catch them on anything else but these jokers. Plus, it's a freaking cool bait. I've never thrown a Sebile Swimmer. Like, some of you guys telling me to try out the Z-Man stuff have been like that close to being trolls because you're like, bro, get Z-Man plastics. Get the okay, I did it. I did it. And actually, I caught some of my like giant bag of smallies, mixed largemouth bag on these jokers. I actually lost one of my freaking, like a stud, dude. But I got some Neds. These are the TRD Finesse. I like the mini ones because if I go any bigger, I use a fat ace, which is what I prefer, or an ace, and I'll cut it down. But basically, I got 3 colors. I got standard green pumpkin, I got this guy because I think it really looks like a shad. It's the smelt color, and it's a little bit transparent, so it's perfect for those Smith Lake deals. And then a Finesse TRD and perfect perch. There's perch in these lakes too. That's not why I got it, but somebody told me there's perch in like Gunnersville, like the ones we used to catch up north and eat. Dinner time, right? But I got these jokers. These things, you know, I like them for a finesse bite for largemouth, as well as, you know, targeting those spotted bass because they have smaller mouths and they're tough to kind of get the bait, you know, in their mouth, especially if you're catching small ones. But what I really like these for is smallmouth, dude. Like the smallmouth, really like a Ned rig with these jokers on it. It's super compact. I can use a little small hook with it, and I don't miss them because I have had some instances out on Wilson Lake where I've missed smallies because I think I'm using too big of a bait. And it's not that the fish are small. Fish are big, but they just won't eat that bigger bait. All right, let's burn through a couple items. Let me dig here. Boom, Picasso Schoolie Rig Jr. You guys probably saw this in a video, or maybe not. Something's coming. Using this to target bluff walls, as well as just kind of like schooling fish with an A-rig, but I want an A-rig that's compact. This thing, dude, once you put like 1/8 ounce heads on it, which we actually have in here. Let me get those out. Using these guys, 6 cents, 1/8 ounce, 3/0 heads. They're not the best, but they're cheap. And they're decent, dude. But I match it up with these jokers, and then I'll put a blade right on the back there to give it a little bit of flash, just some junky old spinnerbait blade that I kind of dig off another bait. But I'm using this. You can throw it like a spinnerbait. It's not your giant umbrella rig, but it gives you the presentation of an umbrella rig. You got a ball of bait swimming around, which sometimes is the only way to trigger these jokers to like bite. Or if you're in a school of bass, especially, I'm not fishing many tournaments, but if you're fishing a tournament, you can catch more than one fish at a time, which is huge, dude. If you can fill out a limit in freaking like 2 casts, 3 casts, that's freaking balling right there. But this is what I'm pairing up. Main reason is castability. I can throw this around docks very easily. It's not taxing, even though I've been working out, bro. But yeah, it's not taxing on yourself. Like, it doesn't really drain you as much. You can sling it around, make accurate casts with it. It doesn't sploosh as much, and it catches them. Let's grab some other stuff. Oh, these I'm really excited about. I've always been a fan of Strike King crankbaits, as you guys know. Lately, as I've moved up here, I've been a fan of flat-sided crankbaits. Well, Strike King has these guys. What are they even called? I don't even know. They're called flat-side crankbait. Nice job on the direct naming. Good branding, Strike King. But these are flat-side crankbaits. You guys will recognize this color immediately. This is green gizzard shad, one of my favorite colors. And then this is just kind of like a craw, whatever, something with a little bit of orange or red in case the water gets dirty or I get up a creek and the water's a little tinged. That's how I try to balance things out, kind of like a shad and maybe a brim pattern and then something for dirtier water. But what I like about these guys is, you probably noticed in the videos I've been throwing a lot of the DT6 or just a square bill that will run anywhere from 2, even like 1 to like 5 feet or so. These guys run like 6 to 9. They run in that mid-depth range, but they're not like a giant crankbait. They're a little more subtle. They have a nice rounded bill like that, but I can throw this on a 7-foot kind of crankbait rod, just a standard crankbait rod, and I can get down a little deeper. One thing that I've really noticed immediately is everything is a little bit deeper out here than I'm used to. Obviously, I'm used to shallow water with Okeechobee, but like even docks, you know, I would expect a dock to be in like 4 feet of water, 3 feet of water. Well, especially on Smith Lake, those docks are in like 20, 25, 15. So this gives me the opportunity to get a little bit deeper when I'm fishing either those bluff walls, or those banks, or those docks. But it's flat-sided. It's a little more subtle vibration. And I like Strike King crankbaits, dude. They're mass-produced, but they have a great price point, and they tend to work. There's a bunch of these in here. And although I was really pissed at Rapala because they told me that these baits were running right, and they were not running right, but that's a whole nother argument, and I'm letting it go. I'm growing as a person, and I'm going to let stuff go. These are essential. I need something that's a little more subtle than a 6XD or like a Strike King kind of like normal wide body or any kind of crankbait, like a wide body crankbait. I want something that's a little flatter with a tighter vibration, but I want to access certain depths. So I have the DT6. You guys have seen that. It's been super successful. I like this green. Once again, it's that watercolor matching some of the green, and it's just a cool color. And like sometimes I don't really think they care what the hell the color is. Like this has the breakup pattern that we've talked about in other videos, and I like it, so I'm gonna throw it. So that's what I got. But I also got, let me throw this on the ground here. I needed something to go like 12 to 13 feet. And you'll notice this is a DT14. Okay, well that's max depth. I want it to be bouncing bottom in 12 to 14 or 10 to 14. I want to dig bottom. So I got this joker for those like semi-deep stuff where I wouldn't get out a 6XD, and I want something a little more subtle. A lot of this stuff is really keyed for like Gunnersville, where there's a lot of pressure, maybe the smallmouths on Wilson, as well as Smith Lake, where, you know, I want a slightly more subtle crankbait, but I need to get down there. DT14, and then I also got DT10. I actually got one of each in each of these colors. So I got them in the green craw, olive green craw, and then this is disco shad, pearl gray shiner. But it basically shad and then just something greenish, whether it's a brim or a craw or whatever. But I got the DT10s for basically, that's 14, DT10. Little smaller. This one has, the DT10s have a slightly smaller body than the DT14s, but I got this for 6 to 10, 8 to 10, just so I can hit that bottom and grind when it comes down to it. I'm throwing all these guys on either 10 or 12 pound fluorocarbon. Pretty light line so I can get it down to max depth, but these guys are an essential, man. I need that tight wobble. Back in Wisconsin, these were awesome. What are these? I don't even remember. Rocket Shed. These are old school, dude. Basically, they're little kind of like micro, see the size of my hand in comparison? They're kind of like micro spinnerbaits with a Colorado blade. You can burn these things like fire. Now, I got a 3/8 and I got a half. I got a feeling I'll be using the half a lot more, but I got the 3/8 just in case these fish are super duper on top and I need to burn the thing on top or wake it, maybe around a dock without like reeling it super fast. But I got them in white, super simple, mimicking shad. I think these are, oh, the other cool thing. If you can see in there, these guys have a treble hook on them. They don't have a single hook, so you miss a lot less fish. You can hang on some cover. It's also a swinging hook, so the hook moves around. So if you hook fish, they tend to not come off, even though it's a treble. But it's a killer bait, dude, for the smaller for the smaller forage targeted fish, smallmouth spotted bass. I'm not really gonna throw it much on gunners. Well, I might try it, but really this is for catching spots, suspended, up on top, next to cover, and then those smallies when I get into them, because they can mouth it and they tend to hit it a lot better than a standard spinnerbait. But you can throw it on like standard spinnerbait tackle because it is a ½ ounce or 3/8 ounce. You can sling it on like 15, 12 pound fluorocarbon and a 7-foot medium heavy rod. Shout out to JT Kenny and Nichols and Brooks at Nichols. Dude, they make great products and it's solid quality stuff. You guys probably know why I have this stuff if you guys have been watching the videos. I freaking like wrecked some smallies on these, dude. Like wrecked them, and it was so much fun to catch them on them because like they have a stout enough hook to like handle them, but it still allows me to present that Ned sort of presentation that I love. Plus there's a small brush guard on there, probably one of the better ones. Not all the brush guards are great on these Ned heads, but this is one of the slightly better ones that I've found, and it just, dude, they chewed it. They absolutely chewed it. So I got the JT Kenny Mag Ned right here. That's what I caught all those smallies on. Obviously, I bought more. I did lose some in the brush, and that is because that brush guard is not super duper perfect, but it is a finesse presentation is what it is. But then the ones that I like, and this is where you guys are going to give me hell, these are the ones I like to use with the TRD that we talked about. This is the Clint Davis Toadstool. It has a super duper small hook and a brush guard. These are 1/8 ounce. This fits that TRD perfectly, and this is what I also lost 2 gigantic freaking smallies on, which pissed me off, but whatever. I need to learn to fish this more delicately. I'm also going to use these with the TRD for spotted bass. That smaller hook and they're small mouths, they're harder mouths too. You get a good hook up. You just need to, I gotta take the Florida out of balls for a little bit. I'll be back in Florida and fishing, and I can put the Florida back in my balls, but when I fish these, I need to like take a breath, take my Valium, chill out, and just not pull on fish, which I think I'm usually pretty good about, but you got to be careful. But they catch fish, and it's a perfect jig head for like micro baits and small baits. Since we're talking about jigs, something I have kind of like fallen in love with up here, but I used to do it a lot up in Wisconsin, and it's a fun way to fish. And with all the pressure that these lakes get, I had no idea how much pressure Gunnersville got. I went there on a Thursday, dude, and I drove past 3 boat ramps, and there was like 3 parking spots in each boat ramp. Like slammed. So dude, I'm thinking if these fish are getting slammed that hard, like using finesse presentations, yeah, they're going to catch you numbers. They're going to catch you some 2-pounders and some 3-pounders. But if it gets slammed that hard, like either you got to use gigantic baits to target giant fish, or you use finesse stuff to target giant fish. Stuff that guys like aren't always going to throw because they think it's too small to catch better ones. So I kind of went on a rampage with these sort of stout hooked finesse jigs. These guys are the War Eagles. This is actually, shout out to my boy Josh Holly. He recommended these guys. These are in 3/8. I also have them in a ½ ounce. But you can see it's just a ball head jig, super stout hook on them. Wouldn't recommend like pitching trees or anything with them. You can like fish it through like some brush and that, but it will hang. I've tried to pitch them into trees and you will hang up, but it has that stout hook, so I can catch a 7-pounder and not worry about opening up a hook. I also tried, and indeed everybody knows jewel baits and what is it, dirty jigs are probably some of the best jigs on the market when it comes down to it. So I grabbed some from Jewel. I'll probably grab some from Dirty Jigs as well. These are also Finesse. These are the Tactical Finesse HD. It's the same concept. These are 5/16, so a little bit lighter than the 3/8 that I got. Stout hook, ball head, you know, just normal color. It's got a little bit of orange, a little bit of chartreuse in it, because I probably will be throwing these for spots and smallmouth, more so. Gonna try it on Gunnersville and Pickwick and that, but that little bit of chartreuse, I believe it draws some more bites from those kinds of fish. But just a solid kind of like finesse jig head that I can still put on a bait casting setup with 15-pound fluorocarbon, but I'm getting that more subtle presentation. Tackle Warehouse, if you don't comment on this video with a big thank you, I'll be highly disappointed. I wonder if Tackle Warehouse loves me as much as I love them. Okay, moving on. My buddy Patrick recommended these guys. These are, I think I have another, there we go. Oh, because I bought two. Nice. These are the VMC Finesse Ned heads. Here's what I like about these. They do have a weed guard on them. They have a little bit longer, stouter hook, but it's still that's the mushroom style head. The only thing that I haven't been liking about these guys and some of the other Ned heads that I mentioned is in comparison to that Berkeley one that I use, the real cheap junky one, the keepers on them kind of suck. You get bait slippage. I don't know if you guys got like a recommendation for solving that issue, let me know. But that's been the only thing that's kind of pissed me off is my stick bait, whether it's an Ace or the TRD, will like literally slide up like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch. And it probably doesn't matter, but it freaking annoys me, dude. Like I cast it out and I'm like, oh, I think, you know how you can see your bait, like oh, the bait fouled, or move, like I see it like move that little space off there, and it just drives me. So if you got a solution, let me know. But my buddy Patrick recommended these. They should be pretty solid. I've caught some bass on them before, but they do have that weed guard. I need more weed guards up here because I'm not fishing nearly as much open water. There's a lot more random cover down there, or big boulders when I'm dragging like a flat or a shell bar, so I need something to kind of keep it from getting hung up all the time. We're getting down to the bottom. Oh, we already talked about those. You come here for real fishing, and I try to give you honest, fairly non-biased. I'm biased just because I have my own personal views and stuff, and you know, I like certain things more than other things. I like certain people more than other things, and I'll probably gravitate towards their products because of that. But try to be non-biased about it, and this is a real recognition that I've gotten. This is 8-pound Sunline Sniper. Now, you guys know I like Sunline Sniper. I don't like the price point on it. It's super expensive. It's worth it, but it's expensive. I tried to use 8-pound Red Label Seagar for my leaders on my spinning stuff. Basically like drop shot, that TRD Ned rig, like Finesse Ned rig, wacky rigging, anything finesse on those spinning rods, just as a leader, because I'll run 12 or 15-pound braid. So I had a lot of problems with it. I ended up just using it because I had like a 200-yard spool, but I had a lot of twisting action. I don't know if it's my fault, if it's because I was throwing a shaky head or something and the bait was twisting in the air, but literally I'd get a lot of like rod guide wrap, like that rod tip. It would wrap around there randomly. And then you get a lot of nicks, and in an 8-pound test, a nick matters a lot more than if you're using 15, 18, 20, 17, you know, even 12, like you can get away with a nick or two. But when it's 8, 6-pound test, you can't. So I had a lot of issues with the Red Label. I love the Red Label for my casting applications. I use it on my crankbait rods, 12-pound, 10-pound test. I even use it, dude, I've been trying to be cheaper because we bought this house and I'm not exactly rich at all, so I've been trying to like save some money and make cuts where I can. I've been using it on my casting applications for like my magnet, for even a jig dragging, for like any application that I need fluorocarbon, just because the price point's there. I still use Sniper in a few instances. I got a flipping rod with it. I got a few drag rods with it. I love this stuff, but the point being is, I didn't want to buy this. Oops, goodbye computer. Goodbye computer. So, dude, I'm so freaking scattered. This is one of my favorite pictures from Lake Okeechobee. This is when Harney Pond area still had hydrilla because the FWC didn't kill it. It would all grow up with grass. I was with my buddy Val, who owns Gambler Lures. We were in his old Storm boat, and we were punching mats. And I don't think we were in a 2-day tournament. I think the first day we had like 24 pounds, and then we dropped to like 18 or something. But literally, dude, we punched all these mats for like 8 hours, and it was awesome. We got a lot of bites, caught a lot of, it was so much fun. I caught like a 7.5-pounder. Like the video I think is on the Gambler YouTube, but so much fun. Scatterbrain. Brass tacks though. I got this because I had problems with the Red Label as a leader. simply as a leader. So I'm going to use this as leaders on my spinning tackle. It's a little bit better line. I'm hoping I won't get those wind loops. I'll get back to you on that. So funny, we were just talking about fishing line and that stuff. Okay, like I said, and I think this is like an attestation to like really what I believe. I need that sniper for the leader stuff, but this spool is freaking cheap. I get 1,000 yards of 15-pound fluorocarbon. I think it's for like 60 bucks or something like. I mean, it's not cheap, but like this is the same diameter as sniper. Like you get a lot of those fluorocarbons and the diameter gets wider as for the same like pound test. This is 15-pound test. It is 0.013 millimeters diameter. Like this stuff is great. It's not the perfect fluorocarbon, I'll be the first to tell you, but if you're anything like me where you're kind of on a budget and you can't get perfect stuff, like maybe one day I'll be able to buy like the Ninja version of sniper. I think there's whatever, shooter. Dude, I can never afford that. But this stuff, it's great utility line. I use it for a lot of applications. I haven't had issues with it except for the leader issue. So I got a big old spool of 15 because I think 15 is going to be my mainstay basic line. Any kind of general casting, bait cast applications, this is going to be my go-to. So you guys had a lot of questions about these about a month and a half ago or so in the videos. These are my owner hyper weld clips. These are the ones that I use for my crankbaits to swap them out. Square bill, super deep divers, even those ones we talked about, those flat-sided Strike Kings that I got that run like a wiggle wart 6 to 8. So this is what I use to quickly change out crankbaits. These are the 60-pound version. I got the little bit bigger ones. Usually I'll get like the 43-pound version, but I figured I'd kind of up the ante a little bit, try them out, see if the bigger ones like matter at all. Because sometimes it's hard to get your fingers around and like to pop it out. So I figured I'd try the bigger ones. Plus it protects the line on the bill a little bit as well when you're cranking like rocks and stuff. But these are the ones that I use. Like I said, there are crazy negative reviews on Tackle Warehouse about these. I don't know why. And if you're like throwing a freaking like this guy, where is that joker? If you're throwing this on 65-pound braid and you expect these to work, you're out of your mind. Like they don't, like the only application you want to use these jokers for is cranking, in my opinion. So cranking, any kind of cranking, use them on fluorocarbon. They work great. Either do the 60 or the 43-pound. They will save you time and headaches of retying. And they'll save you money because you don't cut line down all the time. These things are awesome. Ha ha! I'm not even going to talk about this. I lost a trap. I didn't have one that looked like a shad. I love red eye shads. They work no matter how many people throw them. They still work because if you fish them differently, they chew them. Red eye shad. I mean, come on, guys. So next we're going to move on. This is actually the last thing. And these we can do twice at once. So the best size of drop shot weight that I figured out for up here is if I'm fishing anywhere from 8 to 20, 30, 40, and I fished them actually in 40 or 50 feet of water on Smith, 1/4 ounce. These are the West Coast drop shot weights. Now, let me throw a little caveat. These are the teardrop, and I've sworn by these as long as I've tried to learn about offshore fishing. I might be wrong. I'm going to keep trying them, but I've been hanging on some big boulder flats. When I try to fish boulders or bluff walls, I've been hanging the drop shot. Now, it pops out when I kind of go over it usually, but I'm wondering if I need to use a standard ball head on my drop shots. So I'm going to try these a little bit more, but 1/4 ounce West Coast drop shot. These are the cheapest, best quality drop shot like weights that you can buy. These things are badass, dude. I've used them for freaking years. These are the deal. Get them on Tackle Warehouse. The other thing that I needed to do, and I think we talked about this, remember way back when we fished with Alabassan TV on Smith? Jesus, quit emailing me, bro. Maybe it's Alabassan TV. Shout out to him though. Check out his channel, Alabassan TV. Super cool dude. But he took me to school on Smith Lake drop shotting, and he was using a smaller hook. I had a rubber worm rebarb. These are the 1/0. I had a 2/0 wide gap. I should probably go even a little smaller than this, but I'm afraid to. But that smaller hook allows them to get that bait in their mouth. They don't spit it as quickly, and you get a little bit better hookup because it is a little smaller diameter hook. So all you gotta do is put weight on them. It slips right through their mouth. These are some of the best drop shot hooks I think ever made. And one little trick, I wacky rig with these. A lot of guys will use like a circle hook and stuff. You do not, well, I don't think you need to deck. Some guys really told me that I'm wrong on that. I caught like a freaking nearly 5-pound smallie on this joker doing it wacky rig. I think you can use straight shank hooks. I'm going to keep doing it until it doesn't work for me. But I'll wacky rig stuff on these. I'll fish it weedless on these. They're a super versatile hook, super quality. The only problem is the keepers will spin after a while. Is what it is. Put a drop of super glue on it or buy another pack. They're not super expensive. It's like $4.69 or something like that. great drop shot hook. So funny thing is, I waited just long enough for the rain to start, and now I gotta go sit in the boat and rig rods. But that's okay, because we had some fun talking about baits. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope Tackle Warehouse, you enjoy the fact that I spend way too much money there, but I love every bit of it. I've been staring at these baits since I got them yesterday. They're so cool. And it's cool too, because when you look at this stuff, you go through a process of how I'm gonna use it, where am I gonna use it, when am I gonna use it, why am I gonna use it? And you think about situations where you're going to employ it and why it'll work and why it'll fit. And it gives you confidence, dude. But I won't keep you guys any longer. I know we've gone long talking about baits. Thank you guys for watching. Check out links to all the products that we talked about down in the description box. You can find them at Tackle Warehouse. More Tackle Warehouse selling stuff, jeez. But in any case, I love you guys watching the videos. You know, your support has really made me kind of grow this and do it more often and really try to grow the channel. Try to hit 100K. Don't know if it's going to happen. Probably won't, but I really appreciate everything you guys do. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We are out. I need to rig some rods in the rain. I love getting pissed on when I'm rigging rods, but it's all for the better cause because we get to go fishing tomorrow. Tight lines. We will see you next time.